Right? That's going to be next Sunday. Okay, so I want you to grab your bulletins with you. And here inside the bulletin is the responsive reading based on Luke chapter 22. I want you all to stand up as we read this together. And I want the men to read the lighter print and the women to read the bolder print. Okay, men, together. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered." Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will."
Truly I tell you, Jesus answered, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times.
But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples said the same.
Now Peter was sitting out in the courtyard, and a certain girl came to him. "You also were with Jesus of Galilee," she said.
But he denied it before them all. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said.
Then he went out to the gateway, where another servant girl saw him, and said to the people there, "This fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth."
He denied it again with an oath. "I don't know the man."
After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, "Surely you are one of them, your accent gives you away."
Then he began to call down curses, and he swore to them, "I don't know the man." Immediately a rooster crowed.
Then Peter remembered the words Jesus had spoken. "Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." And he went outside and wept.
Shall we pray? Jesus, as we talk about your darkest hours, the remaining darkest hours when you were here, before your crucifixion, we pray that you give us a clear vision and impression and understanding of what really happened to you there, and to have a real appreciation of your sacrifice and of your love. Bless your word, God. Holy Spirit, I pray that you anoint me, anoint our hearts, our spirit, our minds. In Jesus' name. Amen. Please be seated. It was a story of a badly wounded, burned vet. And he got this wounds and the burn when he was deployed in Iraq, through the first wave in Iraq. And he's got a beautiful senior high daughter. And she was about to graduate, and of course everybody was happy, everybody was ecstatic, everybody was excited about it. And during dinner time, a week before graduation, she talked to her dad, and she said, "Dad, you know that I love you." And the dad said, with all the burns and everything on his face and hands, he said, "Yes, I know that. I know that you love me." And she said, "Dad, thank you. I know you love me. I know that you love, that I love you. I know you know that I love you, but I have one request. Please don't come on my graduation." And so he was so shocked. Everybody was shocked. And he asked why. And she did not give any explanations. She just said, just, this day, Dad, for this day. So during graduation day, everybody was marching on. So the dad showed up. He was wearing a sweater with a hoodie, and he was wearing a baseball cap. He was hiding his face, because he recognized that the reason why his daughter doesn't want him to come is because his daughter was ashamed, embarrassed of his face and his arms and all his burns and wounds because of war. Everybody was marching on, and the last guy who marched saw him, and it was the principal. The principal looked at him, at the very corner, very corner of the room, of the gym, recognized the guy. And when the principal was on the stage, before he asked the main speaker to give the speech, he said, "There's somebody here in this room, and I want to call him." And he said, "This guy, Special Officer Matthews, standing in the very back of the room, I want you to come here." And he was hesitant, just so hesitant to come. He doesn't want to be recognized. And so Matthew came still, and so the principal told everybody. He told everybody, "Guys, this guy is a hero. He's not only an American hero, but he is the hero of my son, because he saved my son from IED. He took all the fires and the burns." And he asked Matthew, Special Officer Matthew, he said, "If you are going to give a speech, it's going to be impromptu. If you are going to give a speech to everybody, what is that?" And so he gave just a very brief, just move on, press on, keep your goal, keep your heads up. And then eventually he was asked, "By the way, I want to ask the principal, why are you here? I'm so glad to see you here, but why are you here?" And he said, "I am here because my daughter's going to graduate." And everybody stood up, everybody applauded, clapped their hands. And when he was asked, "Who is that daughter?" the daughter bolted out of the room, crying, so embarrassed. Doesn't want her classmates to recognize that it was her, that it was her dad that was standing there, that it was her dad who was the hero of everybody, but not hers. Many of us could recognize being disowned or being rejected. Your story may not be the same story as this bed, but some of you probably experience the pain of being disowned either by your biological parents, or you are disowned by your children, or you are disowned by your former boyfriend or girlfriend, or you are disowned by your ex-husband or ex-wife, or you are disowned by your friends. The feeling of rejection, that pain, that they don't want to recognize you as part of their lives. They don't want to recognize you as somebody who made an impact in your life. Jesus fell in that category. He was disowned by his disciples, especially by his best friend, Peter. He was disowned by that time when he needed them most, at least for moral support. And he was disowned not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. Peter denied him 3 times. Denial number 1. It says, "Then a servant girl, seeing him as he sat in the light and looking closely at him, said, 'This man was also with him.'" A servant girl. The Greek word there was a slave girl. A slave girl saying, "Hey, I recognized you. You are with him, right? You are with this Jesus, right? I know you. You're always..." No, this slave girl was just a slave girl. You know what it means? A slave girl cannot bear witness. People won't listen to a slave girl. If she would say, "Hey, this is one of them. He's one of them. This guy is one of Jesus' disciples." Nobody would listen to her because what? She's just a slave girl, a servant girl. Her testimony would not bear witness. What she said? What did Peter say? "I do not know him. I do not know what you're saying. I do not know this guy." Denial number 2. And a little later, someone else saw him and said, "Hey, bud, you are one of them." Right? On the passage that we've read, it says here that Peter was sitting in the courtyard. Oh no, this time is on verse 71. Then he went out to the gateway where another servant girl saw him and said to the people, it's in the bulletin, said to the people there, "This fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth." Then he said, "Man, I'm not. No. I am not." And in the bulletin, we can see the progression. There's a big progression here. In the bulletin, which is based on Luke 22, by the way, it says the first one was, now Peter was sitting in the courtyard and the servant girl came to him. "You were also with Jesus of Galilee." And he said he denied it before them all. "I don't know what you are talking about." Okay? Emphatically, categorically, he said that one. And then the second one, he denied it again with an oath. He was basically saying, "I pledge, right? Hope to die. I don't know this guy. Heaven knows, I don't know this guy." And then after a little while, the third denial, after an interval of an hour, still another insisted, saying, "Certainly this man also was with him, for he too is a Galilean." In the bulletin that I wrote, that we copied there, is that after a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, "Surely you are one of them." Why? Because your accent gives you away. Imagine Filipino accent. I was thinking about that. Your accent gives you away. And he said, "No way. I do not know what you are talking about." In the bulletin, in verse 74, it says, "Then he began to call down curses. And he swore to them." He was saying, "No, I don't know this guy." He was cursing them. The first one, he emphatically said, "I do not know this guy." The second one, he took an oath. "Heaven knows, I don't know this guy." The third time, he cursed them. He said bad words. He said the F word, the B word, the S word. Now, S word does not represent sente word. He cursed and said, "No, I don't know this guy. I do not know what you are talking about." And just as he was speaking in verse 60, the rooster crowed. Uh-oh. The rooster crowed. Now, did Jesus warn Peter that evening that before the rooster crows, he will disown him 3 times? In spite of his insistence that he will fight for him and will not disown him, he is willing to go to prison with him and die with him. The rooster crowed. He realized. He remembered. He made an oath. He pledged to Jesus, "I'm not going to disown you. I'm not going, no, I'm willing to die for you. No, I'm not going to deny you. I'm willing to sacrifice my life for you." The rooster crowed. And the Lord turned and looked straight at Peter, because Peter and Jesus was just a, very short distance, and Jesus could hear him. The rooster crowed. Jesus said, "Peter, I can to see you. I heard what you said. I heard you disowned me 3 times. Do you know what he was thinking about this? Maybe Jesus was as he looked at Peter, he was saying, I told you so. Did I tell you? I told you so. And probably he was telling Peter as well, that, okay, Peter, I know you screwed up, I know. But I still love you. You disowned me. I'm your best friend. It pains me to be subjected into this kind of humiliation and pain. But what pained me the more is being disowned by the very guy that I consider the most trusted friend. Imagine the pain in Jesus' eyes. Not only that he was abandoned by his disciples, but this guy who promised that I'm going to go to prison with you, that I'm going to die with you. Just an instance. It was just a slave girl. And why are you so scared, Peter? Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. Verse 62, and he went outside and wept bitterly. He cried, he cried. Why did I disown my Lord? Why? The guilt, the remorse. I have made an oath. I pledged to him. I am going to go to prison with him. I'm going to die with him. What did I just do? It was just a slave girl. Let's backtrack a little bit. A few hours before that. When Jesus said during the Passover celebration, that was that evening, same evening, when Jesus said someone would betray him tonight, Peter was outraged. He was so mad. And he said, not me, Lord, and whoever's that guy, I'm going to hit him in the face. I'm going to sucker punch him. Not me. And Peter assured Lord, no. I'm going to go to prison with you. I'm going to die with you. He made this oath to Jesus. That was just a few hours ago. It was not last week. It was not last month that he made that pledge. It was just a few hours ago. A few hours ago, when Jesus said, come on guys, I want you to pray with me. What did he do? He slept. Right? And we could probably say, well, how dare you, Peter, for disowning your master who elevated your status from a poor fisherman to a leader of the disciples and all the followers of Jesus. How dare you? You're nobody, and he made you somebody. How could you deny your best friend at the very time and moment when he needed a moral support from you? How dare you? How dare you, Peter, for turning your back away from Jesus, whom you called Lord, whom you called Master, whom you called Christ, the Son of the living God? How dare you, Peter? Did you personally witness his power, his miracles, his wisdom? How dare you, Peter? Did you walk with him in water? And in human history, you are the second person who walked on water. The first one was Jesus, and the second one is you. How dare you for dumping your Savior in front of the servants of the temple? Why did Peter disown Jesus? Let me give you 3 possible reasons why Peter disowned Jesus. The first one was frustration. Frustration. He was just frustrated with Jesus. Peter and the rest of the disciples and the people were expecting that Jesus is going to lead them to a bloody revolution against Rome. He believes that Jesus perfectly fits the profile of a revolutionary leader. And his arrest proves otherwise. He was just upset. He was frustrated with Jesus. Although he was thinking for 3 years that he was with Jesus, that Jesus is going to lead them for a bloody revolution against Rome. He was arrested and said, duh. He's not the guy anymore. There's a fill in the blank in your outline. You can write down something there. I feel frustrated with God when I feel frustrated with God when He does not answer my prayer. I feel frustrated with God when His plans would go against my plan. I feel frustrated with God when blank. What's that? I feel frustrated with God when I want to do something, I want to get something, and He doesn't want to give it to me. Frustration. The second possible reason is fear. He was just so afraid. And human nature, right? Self-preservation. Because self-preservation, he was just too afraid that he will be arrested and crucified. By the way, he said, I'll go to jail with you. I will die with you. But now there's some reality set in. Oh my goodness, he's been arrested. The leader of the gang has been arrested. Now they will arrest me too if I'm going to identify myself with him, right? And if they're going to kill him, then they're going to kill me too. Now self-preservation. Fear. What are we afraid of? To tell people that we are Christians. We are living in a society that threatens us, that they will sue us if we are going to have Christmas trees in public spaces. Or when we talk about the gospel. Or you are living in a working environment when your boss would tell you that if you are going to sing Christmas carols or when you are going to sing Christian music, then you will be fired because somebody will be offended. What are you afraid about? Well, I'm afraid that people would laugh at me or would mock me or make fun of me if they will find out that I'm a Christian. Open Doors has this statistics. Each month, this is not every year, this is not every 10 years, this is each month, every month, there are 322 Christians that are murdered for their faith. Why are they being murdered? Because they are being threatened. If you are a Christian, better said, no, I'm not a Christian. But they said, no, I'm not going to deny my Lord, I am a Christian. That's why they were being killed. 322 every year in the whole world being murdered for their faith. And if you have been watching the news, how the ISIS people are killing Christian children and missionaries, beheading them, and even the children first. I remember I shared a story to you. There was this one missionary asking for prayer for friends around the world, and because ISIS came to their town, the ISIS people were looking for Christian homes, and they're not going to ask the parents if they're Christians or not, but they're going to ask the kids, the children. And the children would say, well, I am a Christian. And then the ISIS people would say, okay, you will survive. I'm going to let you live if you are going to deny your Christianity, if you're going to deny Jesus, if you're going to disown Jesus. And the kids would say, no, I'm not going to deny my Jesus. And the missionary said that it seems like nobody in that town denied and disowned Jesus. How did she know? Everybody were murdered. The children were beheaded. We don't have it here, praise the Lord. But what we are afraid of is we are afraid that our friends would mock us, would make fun of us because we are Christians. But in those countries, in those towns, they're not afraid to be beheaded and killed, be murdered for Jesus. 214 churches and Christian properties are destroyed, burnt. 772 forms of violence are committed against Christians. That includes beatings, abductions, rapes, arrests, forced marriages. if you are going to fill in the blank, I don't want to tell my friends that I am a Christian because I am afraid that they will what? They will blank me. What are they going to write for you? They're going to laugh at me. They're going to mock me. They're going to tease me. That they're going to bully me. So what? At least they're not going to kill me. So maybe Peter was frustrated with Jesus. Was afraid, self-preservation, embarrassment. The third one. He felt so embarrassed. He was so ashamed to identify himself with Christ, to associate himself with Christ, with Jesus. No! I am not with him. No, I don't know this guy. Duh, you've got the accent. Right? I saw you. You're with this guy. You're with Jesus. No! And then he started cursing. I'm not with him. I don't know him. But when the rooster crowed, he realized, okay. Not only that it was very, very, very bad, it was too much. He realized how much pain. When he saw the eyes of Jesus, he just realized it was a convicting eye, it was a convicting look. Jesus saying, Peter, I heard you. Peter, I told you. I'm right. Jesus died. He rose again from the dead. He showed himself to the disciples. And he showed himself while they were fishing. Jesus grilled some fish for them. After they ate, in John chapter 21, this is what it says. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? He was talking about the fishing business with Peter because he went back fishing. Do you love me more than these? Do you love me more than your business? Do you love me more than your hobby? Do you love me more than your friends? Peter, do you love me? And he said, yes, Lord. You know that I love you. Right? Yes, you know that I love you. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered again, yes. Lord, you know at the very bottom of my heart, you know that I love you. The third time he said to him, Simon, 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 Peter, the rock, do you really love me? This time, it hit so hard. Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time. So he said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus asked him 3 times because he denied him 3 times. It's easy to say, Jesus, I love you, right? If I'm going to ask you that, do you love Jesus? This is it. I love him. I love Jesus. That's why I'm here. Am I proud of him? Yes, of course I'm proud of him. That's why I'm here. How about if you are not here? How about if you're at school? How about if you're with your friends? How about if you are at work? Are you still proud of him? Yeah, of course I'm proud of him, but I'm not going to tell people that I am a Christian. Then you're not proud of him. Do you know why? Do you know why the Jewish people, the Jewish guy would wear, what's that? The top of the head? Kippah. The kippah. Because they are proud that they are Jews. And yet they are one of the most persecuted group of people. Who is the most hated religious group in America, in the Western world? Who? If you answer these questions now, Islam. Because they are associated with terrorism. But not all of them are part of it. But do you know that in spite of they are the most hated religious group here in the Western world, the women still wear burqa, the headscarf, the covering, and the men who still wear those Middle Eastern clothes. Because even if they are the most hated religious group here in the Western world, here in America, they're still proud of it. Do you know that? Get it? How about Christians? We can worship freely, we can live freely. How many are proud? They're Christian. Do you love Jesus? Are you willing to die for him? Maybe not to that point. I love him, but not to that point. No. Right? Well, we don't even want to go to a Christian gathering if it's snowing so high, right? Yeah, we love Jesus, but not to that point. Right? I'm not going to encourage you to drive also when the snow is around 6 feet. Right? But that's the point. Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And Peter said, okay, gotcha. Yeah. I gotcha. Do you know how he died? Do you know how Peter died? According to tradition, when Peter was arrested, he was asked to deny Jesus. It was during the time of Emperor Nero, very wicked emperor, Roman emperor. He was asked, Peter, we will give you a chance. You've done this before, so it's going to be easy for you. Just disown Jesus. Just disown Jesus. Just deny him. Peter said, no way. No way. Not going to deny him. They asked him and asked him and asked him. They hit him, they whipped him, everything. Maybe they waterboarded him. But he said, no, I'm not going to deny my Jesus this time. And then the centurion gave up and said, okay, then we are going to crucify you, just like your Lord. And he said, okay, I'm cool with that. But there's one thing that I'm going to ask you. Don't crucify me standing up. Crucify me head down, because I don't deserve the death of my Lord. I don't deserve to die the same death, just like how Jesus died. Crucify me upside down. And according to tradition, the wife was there, hoping that the wife would be able to convince Peter to deny Jesus. And this is what Mrs. Peters said. While Peter was being hanged upside down, crucified upside down, Mrs. Peters said, Peter, remember Christ. Remember Christ. When he was dying, Mrs. Peter didn't say, Peter, disown Jesus, you've done that before, it's going to be easy for you. We've got kids. We can live a better life, better than this. Mrs. Peter said, remember Christ, remember Christ, remember Christ, remember Christ. Peter, do you love me? Asked Jesus. Peter said, yes. Even if I'm willing to abandon my frustrations, my fears, my shame. Jesus asked him, Peter, do you love me? Yes. I'm going to serve you. I'm going to preach your word. Peter asked him again, Jesus asked him again, Peter, do you love me? And Peter said, yes, this time I'm willing to die for you. I'm going to die for you. I'm going to go to prison for you and die for you. And he did. How much do you love Jesus? How much prouder are you of him? How much willing are you to die for him? Let's pray. Lord, it is because of your great love to us that Peter died the way he did. That your disciples died the way they did. That the modern Christians in the Middle Eastern world died the way they did, including the children, because they are proud of you, because they love you, and they're willing to die for you. And give us that same resolve. To the point that we're going to say, yes, Lord, we love you and we're willing to die for you.